Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Leo. Welcome back to Yoga with Lynn and Leo.
And welcome to our video today.
We're going to be doing a very nice sequence today. It's really a good sequence for the change of seasons. And what we're going to need are a couple of bricks, a bolster and a rolled blanket. Don't worry too much if you haven't got this equipment. You can substitute a pillow for the bolster. You could use a couple of books really for the 2 bricks, or some foam pads if you've got foam pads and not bricks. And most people have got a blanket or a towel, large towel that they could use in place of that.
Okay, so hopefully you are on your mat and we'll get started. So our first pose today is Adho Svanasana, dog head down. So we're going to use a brick for this. Now, if you find that this brick is a little bit too low, which a lot of people do find, then you may need to have a foam pad or another brick on top of it so that you can actually take your forehead onto the brick. So we're going to demonstrate this now. So Leo is going to take her hands forward, tuck her toes under and extend back. You might need to kick that bolster out a little bit. That's it. Alright, and keeping that lift through the centre of the body. Now, the lift is really important, so don't go down with the head until you've actually really lifted up through the spine. This is such an important action. And then see how much you can lever the legs back from the root of the thigh, those creases, the very top of the thigh. Gotta try to get some work in there and lever those thighs back. And then eventually you can release the head to the support, just keeping in your Adho Svanasana. So you may find that the heels are still up, don't worry about that. Come into your extension, and with practice it will get a little bit better every time. So be in this pose, go and see that you push back with the thighs, keep the arms nice and straight. And then release them by softening the knees and coming into Adho virasana. But still coming into the action where you're resting the forehead. So this sequence is about changing season. So when we change season, it can be a very reflective time. We're coming into the autumn, and it's a change of seasonal developments, changes to our environment. It's really nice to keep the head passive and quiet. So see that the head is releasing onto the brick. Soft inhalation and exhalation. So to prepare you for our next pose, we're coming for Bharavadjasana. Now Bharavadjasana will be the Bharavadjasana twist on the bolster. So Leo is going to get her bolster. Now, when you come into the Bharavadjasana twist, be sure that the Bharavadjasana feet are still working. So you have the top foot over, as you can see, Leo was showing that. If you're unsure if this is new territory for you, you can see that the feet are working in the same way as Bharavadjasana would do in the seated action. Now, before you come into your twist, you've got to see that you're getting length through the spine, a softness in the abdomen, and a length through the chest. And then turn towards the bolster. And then start taking the hands and walking the hands forward along the bolster itself and getting that turn in action. Now try to keep that top hip, the back top hip, grounded so it's not lifting up with you. It's creating a bit of traction. So the hip needs to be pushing away towards the heel side, and then continue. So if you really are tight in the lower back, this will show the tightness. So just take your time to come into it. And then if you're able to, come and release onto the bolster itself. It's quite challenging action. Shows up all of those stiff paraspinal muscles. You see that Leo is really trying to get this side working, and this is a challenging area, very, very challenging area. And then just rest the side of the head onto the bolster and just release also the arms down. Now, you can see that Leo's in this pose now, but for lots of people, this will be really challenging to move the head towards, away from the knee side. So if you find it difficult, then don't push it. It will come eventually. It may be that the head stays the same way as the knees, you can see here. And sometimes this is just where you're at, and you have to work in that way for a while. So you just get to passively release, and again, let all those muscles find the direction in this pose. So because it's passive, it gives a little bit of time to release it into it. And this is a really key thing about this way of practice. So it's good to combine some passive long stay poses into your practice. You can just find that everything starts to open. There's changes that happen when you take time. So we're going to change sides now. So coming up and turning the legs. And again, be mindful of the feet. You'll be able to see on the video here Leo's position with the feet, and also that you're grounding down with that outer hip as you come forward. So you don't want the top of the thigh, the top of the back thigh to come with you, because you want to create, you can see here Leo showing this action. You want to create some space. So keep that grounded as you come round. Now this is just one way of teaching this. You can actually practice this in lots of different ways, but we are trying to use the base of the pose as the traction as we start to walk those hands a little bit further, and then get that turning action. Yeah, that's perfect. And then coming into the action. And again, those of you who find it really challenging to turn the head as well, then don't worry about that. Keep the head where it's comfortable. So don't strain. It's not worth the strain, because you want to try to be as passive as possible in this position. So just let the whole body weight down. Let the spine weight down. And just take a few moments to observe your breath, releasing your facial features. So just some of those tensions that we hold that we don't realize that we're holding, just let all of that release. That's a really nice pose to practice. So you can stay in this a little bit longer. Those of you who are enjoying the Bharavadjasana twist on the bolster, stay there. We're going to continue with the video just to show you the rest of the sequence here. So coming up, we're coming back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, dog head down. So we're coming to this a few times, so hopefully you have your support. Maybe that you have two bricks, or you may have a brick which is turned. Either way, you can see here if you need to. There's all different variations, but be sure that the forehead is supported as you come up into Adho Mukha Svanasana, dog head down. So when you come into this, again, you have to see that you're working so strongly with the legs, pulling up the kneecaps and thighs. Go and see, pressing down with those palms nicely, lifting up through the center of the body. And then you can see here, this is where this pose actually sometimes goes a little bit stale, I would say. It gets a little bit stagnant when you lose this space here. This space really needs to be created. Doesn't matter how much you've got those heels lifted for a while. They are going to go down eventually, but you're going to make space from the very top of the thigh firstly. So you have to see that you deepen the action of the top of the thigh, moves back. Remember, the traction is really important, and that sacrum is stable. So the sacrum has got to ground very strongly back into the action. So I think I've moved you off of your support there. So Leo's has come off the support, which is really a key thing, because actually we've got a little way further to go in the spine for this action yet. Okay, and then release it down. So same way as we did previously, softening the knees and reach back into Adho Mukha virasana. So whilst you're in that pose, I'm just going to explain what we're going to be practicing now. We're just coming into a chest opener. So if you've got your blanket, then you're going to roll your blanket so you make a really long roll, and we'll show you the blanket in a second. Yes, coming up, and then we're going to show you this blanket. Now this blanket will be just hinging into the upper back region. So you can see here, Leo is just placing it onto the mat, and then she will come into supine action. And this is a really beautiful action. So you just hinge over. Now, all depends on your mobility, but really what you're looking at is bringing this right at the base of the shoulder blade so that you can hinge the chest over. You can see it. Such a simple support, but so incredibly effective, very effective. So once you've managed to go over your support, then you're going to extend the legs. So you come into Shavasana action. So soft inhale and soft exhale. Just let the shoulders release completely. Just let the support do the work. So the support is helping you to really open your chest. And when we open our chest, we know that the energy changes enormously. It's such an important practice to change the dynamics of the breath. So when the chest is open, not only is it good for our posture, but also for our organic body. So rolling over a blanket like this is a very simple practice, but incredibly effective. Okay, so we're going to come out of this pose, and again, anytime you want to stay in a pose, then please do stay in it. You can watch the rest of the video when you come out of it. So we're coming out now to come into Bhujangasana. So we will show you this pose. And now we've had this really beautiful opening. We're still going to use this roll for Bhujangasana. And the roll is just going to come underneath the top of the thigh. So you can see Leo's just going to place it for the top of her thighs, and then you come into this position. You can see with this will help to ignite more of a lift, less of a compression or restriction in the lower back. So when you come into Bhujangasana, you can see Leo's hands are going to the sides of the chest, pressing into the palms, and then we're going to extend the chest. So see that the legs are reaching away from you. Remember that traction we were talking about, and then start to lift your chest. Go and see how far can you come up into Bhujangasana. It may be that you just come into just halfway, and that's enough for you. See that the shoulders release enormously, and then pause and see how much you can come up into the pose. Really challenging pose to put into this sequencing, but such a lovely action. If you struggle with this, then just take your time, come at stages. Maybe for a week you work with it with your arms bent and then see if you can go any further. The main thing is that you've got to find those paraspinal muscles, those muscles that go from spine to the outer edges, and you've got to see that you release those shoulder blades. They weight down so that the chest can come up. So those shoulder blades really do need to weight down so strongly, and then releasing down. So Bhujangasana is a wonderful back bend, but very challenging. Okay, and then releasing.
We are doing a tutorial for that though, aren't we?
Yes.
So hopefully that will have already been out by the time this one is released.
Yeah, hopefully. Alright, so you're going to come for purvottanasana, so another demanding pose for the chest. So we're going to show you this action. So taking the hands, you can see here Leo's got the hands on the bricks. Now it's really nice to use the bricks because if you find that you have quite a tight lower back, particularly tailbone, then it restricts the leg action. So even though we may be well trained in our asana, good action in the legs, sometimes if our back's really tight, then this can be very restrictive. So I would recommend that you watch the video and then do after the first action. So Leo's going to press into the hands, ground into the very rim of the heel and see if everything else can come up, lift up. Yeah. So you can see here that Leo gets this pose really nicely, but this tailbone needs to come in really strongly so that she can go up a little more. And then releasing down. Okay, so it's your turn now. So we're not doing this on bar side.
Lucky you. No, it's a nice pose. It's a nice pose.
It's challenging. If the feet don't go down, don't worry, they will come down eventually the more you practice this. Okay, and then press down into the hands and see, can you lift up so strongly? Yes, get that lift. Go and sit. Go and sit. Can you press those feet down and then lift the tailbone, roll the shoulders. Oh, and then release in. Oh, goodness. A challenging action, but again, a really good action to put into your practice. You know, when you're using resistance in the body, it's very powerful, very strong, but actually it brings a lot of stability. So these poses, purvottanasana, very, very good to practice. So, I know you're thinking, when was the last time you practiced that, but bring it in. Okay, so we come for sukhasana. So we're just going to come into sukhasana. Now choose the leg cross, which is most challenging. So if you know that you always go one way, so right leg in front, go with your left leg in front. So, and we're just going to sit. Now, Leo's on a bolster, she can put her hands onto the bolster, but if you're sitting on a blanket or foam pads, then do have your hands, as you can see here, hands so that you can extend. I think it's quite easy with the bolster there that you can do. And also Leo has very, very long arms, so not so difficult for her. So you can see here that the chest is really nice and open, and actually we've been working this morning in our restorative and recovery classes here at the centre, working very much on this opening of the chest and releasing of the upper back muscles, particularly the muscles all around the base of the neck. Such an important action. So be sure that actually to lift that chest, you release the back shoulders so that the chest can come up more and more. And then just let the chin, without dropping all of this wonderful stance, just let the chin release towards the chest. And we're just going to take a few breaths now in this position. So this is just time for reflection, just coming into a soft inhalation. Sorry, we'll start again in a second. as most of you know, we're on the hospital run here, so I'm so sorry if it's disturbed your peace. So the challenge is to try to take yourself really deeply in with all of that noise going on. So when you breathe, don't try to breathe. Just let the breathing happen. Don't try and control it. Oh, I've got to take a really deep breath in. Try and do it. Just do. So just watch and do. Breathe through your nostrils. Just be very much present, watching those inhalations as they expand and broaden into this wonderful area you've created during your practice today, and letting the breath release and recoil, and then let it continue again. Be sure you're not dropping your upper body. Be sure that you're working those upper back muscles just behind the shoulder itself. They've got to release down so the chest has that support, has that lift. Just a couple more observations. Soft inhalation, soft exhalation. And now just bring in the chin to level, and then place your hands onto your thighs. So we hope you enjoyed our video today. If you liked our video, then do press the like button or even subscribe to our channel.
Thank you for joining us. Namaste.